Hey Space Cadets, Lanchen here. Today I'm going to be talking brushes. I'm going to be talking brushes. You guys have asked, I've heard your cries. I've heard all your questions. I know you guys want to see how I use these brushes and why I use them and what I'm doing when I use them, and I'm going to show you today, so stay tuned. It's all happening here. By the way, today I'm only showing you my acrylic brushes because I'm gonna save oil for another time. Okay, so the only brushes I'm not going to be showing you today are these ones right here. These still are used the same way as the round bristle brushes that I will be showing you first. But these are just obviously a lot larger, and these are for much larger pieces, which is why I'm not going to be showing you them because they're hard to clean. So I normally just either blend on the side like this at an angle. Do you like the way I'm showing you this on my wrist? Or like this. That's why this has a little curve to it, because I've been very rough with my brushes and that's just how I use them. I have a 50 in it, I have a 40, and I have a 30. I have 3 different sizes and these are clearly my favorite. That's why I have 3 of them. I got these specific ones from Blick, and they also have a website as well. Blick is a great website for artists. I'm gonna link all that below. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the next 3 brushes, which are these 3, and they're pretty much identical. They are largest to smallest in size, and they are round bristle brushes. Super hard texture brushes, just like the other ones, except they're for smaller canvases. And I'm sure you guys have seen me use these in a lot of my videos. So I have a 1/2 inch round bristle brush, a 3/8 inch, am I saying this right? And a 1/4 inch brush. And the next ones, my Royal and Lang nickel brushes. There's more to this pack, but these are the ones I use most often. This is a number 2, and it's a filbert brush. And these are softer bristles, but as you can tell, it's pretty ruined. When I use these on my space paintings, I'm not delicate with them. I don't know, it's just how I paint. The next one is my flat-headed brush. And this is a number 8. Yeah, this is number 8. Now this one's actually in mint condition, because if I want a straight edge line, I'm gonna have to keep these looking super fresh, which is why it's not all frayed on the ends. And then I'll skip to these 2 because these 2 are used for the exact same thing. This is a number 20 bright brush, and this is a number, I actually can't read it, it's covered in paint, but I think it's a 13? I don't know, 18? They're bright flat-headed brushes. And these are also a bit ruined. They aren't super well taken care of. I'm very rough on these brushes. Like I said before, I really like the details that frayed edges can give you in paintings. And these are just used for my blending. And the last brush right here, and I don't use this one too often, but it is in my kit. And again, this is just for edges. It's a number 14 angle brush. So this is just for lines and stuff like that. And it's a little frayed on the edges, but not too much. And the last brushes that I totally forgot to mention, which are also crucial, are my detail brushes right here. And I have a little pack of them. It's by Benici, I honestly don't know. But I love these brushes, and because they are liner brushes, it's perfect that it's in this nice case. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't take care of them the way that I do. But these are the brushes that I keep in mint condition because they are for detailed purposes only. But I'm gonna show you how I use these because that's probably the most important part. I can show you these brushes all day, but unless you see what I'm doing with them, you're not really going to understand fully the point in using these. So let's skip to that part of the video right now. So before I get started showing you how I use my brushes, I wanted to go through some deep space images to show you what sort of brushes I would use if I wanted to paint them. If I wanted to do like a portion of it around the pillars of creation or something like that, for the background area, I would probably end up using one of these 3, depending upon the size of the painting. I would use this one for the background blending, and these would be used for the background blending. Now, if I wanted to get into the higher detailed area right here with the darker sections, then I would end up going with this little filbert brush right here. Probably end up throwing in my flat-headed brush and my angle brush as well for higher detail. And then for the highest detail sections that these brushes wouldn't work for, I would end up using one of my liner brushes right here. Now, these brushes would come into play as well maybe for the background. Again, I either use this one for blending in the background or these 2 for blending in the background. It really just depends what I'm feeling at the time and the type of texture that I want to get. These are much softer brushes, and these are a lot harder. Okay, so now that I went over that, let's start painting. Alright, so I already got my canvas right here painted black, and it is dry. You guys need to make sure that your paint is completely dry before you start working on your canvas. I'm just going to be using 2 Artist Loft colors for this, and I'm going to use a dark blue because I always blend into a darker color. And I'm going to use a lighter color, which is my aqua. And I think I'll throw in some neon colors too, just so you can see the liner brush detail as well. Alright, so there's the 3 colors I'm working with. So the first brush I'm going to show you is this round bristle brush. You probably have seen this one in most of my videos. Alright, so I'm going to grab the blue with this first, and I'm just going to dab. While this is still wet, I can continue using the same brush because it has the remaining color on it, and just dip it right into my turquoise and then start blending into that. And it's going to give me this nice, beautiful color that looks very natural and well blended. And if I want to get really fancy, once it starts to dry a little bit, I can actually start going in a circular motion like this. Now you have to be careful doing this because the color will lift a little bit because the paint is still wet. I like this blend. I like the texture. It just adds some little details in there instead of it being completely smooth. And you know, that's the difference between oil and acrylic, is that you get some texture, and I'm okay with that. So if I was going to use these 2 brushes right here, it would literally be to do the exact same thing but on a smaller scale. So I'm not going to show you how to do that with these because it's just the exact same thing that the bigger brush does. So now that I have this nice little blended area, I'm going to show you these 2. Now, the reason I'm only going to be showing you one is because these are used for the exact same thing, and I just grabbed both of them because they look similar, and I use them for blending in the exact same way. So I'm just going to show you using one. Grabbing my blue paint and putting that in the background, and I will be putting it next to this one just so you can kind of compare a little bit of the different textures you can get. And I'm not using any water either. Now I'm going to grab my turquoise and I'm going to put it right into the blue. And something I like to do with this brush is I like to use the side of it like this, and it kind of pushes the other colors into it, or I'm not really sure entirely what it's doing, but I just like what it does. So you'll have to try it out for yourself to really get a feel of what I'm talking about, but I angle it on the side. It just blends in better on the edges when I do that, and it also kind of saves the brush a little bit, keeps me from ruining it completely. And as you can tell, when I go over certain sections, because it's still wet, the paint lifts off, but I don't mind that. I like that, actually. It's kind of like the art is creating itself, and I think that looks really cool. As you can tell, the technique that I'm using on this one, where I'm using the side of the brush like this, it turns out completely different as opposed to dabbing straight down like this with the round bristle brush. So you can really tell the difference between these 2. Yes, I could just blend straight down like this. So let's move on to some of the other Langnickel brushes right here, and I'll continue working on this section right here and adding to it to show you what I would do next. So if I wanted to add some higher detail, then I would go with this one right here. Again, when I'm working with these flathead brushes, I work with them on their sides and I push up or I drag out, if that makes sense. So I'm going to go with the neon color that I have over here, and I'm going to use this on its side. Now, because this paint wasn't fully dry, it is lifting. I apologize. I do normally wait for it to dry, but just for the sake of this video, I am working through it to show you how I use these brushes. You can get a pretty good line with this, Again, this isn't what I would use for fine line detail. I have a brush for that, which we will get to. But I do like blending other colors with this around the detailed sections. Because I'm pushing into the color, if I have some other color that's over here, then I start to put that color into the color I am laying down. Sort of like oil painting. I'll show you an example right now. So you see I have the blue right here. And the blue is currently wet. Now if I grab that yellow immediately and I start adding it in and I push it, it blends. I'm like pushing and dragging out that color into the blue and then dragging the blue into the yellow. Did I just say that right? I'm dragging the yellow into the blue and the blue into the yellow. And I just kind of keep dragging it out. So that's why I really like using these. I think it's really nice. And when you're using just a liner brush, you're not really working on a larger section, you're just working on the brightest details. And when you have a flat-headed brush, and when I work with it on its side, I'm able to still work with the other colors, which I really like. Same thing with this brush right here. I would be doing the exact same thing, except maybe it would just be working on this little edge right here. Now let's move on to the filbert brush, and this is mostly used for little small areas of blending where I want it to just be brighter. I'm going to grab the turquoise. I'm just going to add it to this area. Again, working with it on its side. And I'm not sure if that's how you're supposed to use flat-headed brushes, but that's always how I've been doing it, and I really like the results I get from doing it that way. If I wanted to blend out this edge, I would come back in with my larger brush that has the blue, and then I would add it to the corners. The next brush I have is some liner brushes. I tend to use this one a lot. This is not for super high detail, it's mostly for the white. Let me just show you a little bit right here. And again, when I'm using this one, I also use it on its side. And because this one isn't super thin, I'm still able to drag out that color a bit. So as I'm pushing the color up into the sections I want it, I'm also pulling it down slightly, doing this like push and pull motion. If you can see me doing it. The last brush that I'm going to show you is my detail brushes right here, and I'll just pull out one of them. I was already using one from the kit, but there are higher detail brushes that are in here, and I will pull out one of these. I use this one specifically. It's the number 3/0 for my signature, and I really love this one. It's pretty long and it's great. And this would literally just be for lines. No blending at all. I don't want to ruin this brush by trying to blend. So I just use this for straight lines specifically. I'm not using my best paints for this tutorial, I apologize. And then if I wanted to come back in and blend some of this out, I would end up using, sorry I grabbed the wrong one, the filbert brush right here, just to blend out the edges of this. Yeah, just like that. Alright, Space Cadets, so that is it. I really hope you guys liked this video, and if there was something that I didn't touch up on in this video that you were maybe confused about or you would like me to answer, feel free to drop a comment below. I can always make another video for you guys, so I hope this helped. I'll drop all of the brushes below. I'll try to find the ones that best fit what I have if I can't find the exact ones. Check below in the description box, and if you would like to see more of my artwork, you can find my work at Lanchen Designs on Instagram, and I also have a space content channel on TikTok. It's at Lanchen, so if you guys like space facts and you're not just all about the art and you're really about the space too, go check it out. You guys won't regret it, I promise. And yeah, alright Space Cadets, till next time.
Hello, your call cannot be taken at the moment.